Hello boys and girls, today we are going to make emoji pillows. So here is my example of my emoji pillow. Mine's a little small, you're going to make yours a little bigger. And you have these sheets to look off of to give you some inspiration to choose maybe an emoji that you want. You can combine them together, like for example I combined it for my emoji here. I combined this one with the one throwing up. So that is my emoji. So you're going to pick what you're going to do, and then we are going to get started. You will need some felt, a tracer, a pen or a marker, scissors, and then later on we are going to be using a needle and some yarn to sew. So what you're going to start off with is your tracer for your body. Everybody's going to have the same size body unless you are making a different shaped emoji than a circular one. Please don't do it at the middle because we want to be able to use as much felt as possible. You don't want to be wasting some, so I'm putting this over at the edge, holding down my tracer, and then I'm tracing around the edge of my tracer with this pen to make my circle. Pull it up, and you can try if you want to cut through two at a time. It might be a little harder. And if that's the case, you can just trace it a second time. I have two here because we need the front and the back of our emoji. If we don't have two circles, you're not going to be able to make an emoji pillow. You'll just be able to make an emoji. So you need two circles to cut out. If you want, which this would be pretty cool, you could do a different emoji face on each side. That would be neat if you finish early and you have a little extra time. You could do a different emoji on the back side. Maybe you want to do two different colors, maybe a yellow emoji and then like a red or a green, so you'd have two of those. I'm going to then just like trim off the edges where it's a little unevenly cut. And now we're going to make our emoji. So you only need one of these circles right now. Make sure you write your name somewhere on here. So I am going to write my name here. It's okay if you don't want to do it on the one side. I'll give you a piece of tape and you can write on the piece of tape instead. So, or maybe you just want that there for now and we can add the tape later. Then we can flip it around when it's time to make it. What you are going to do now, put the one circle off to the side. You don't need your tracer anymore. Return that to the counter. And you are going to get the felt of another color to start creating the details of your emoji. So, since I'm doing the angry face emoji, I need to make those eyebrows, the eyes, and the mouth. So I'm going to draw this on here and then cut it out. Once again, it's smart to do it towards the edges, and if you want, you could fold it over so you only have to cut it out once instead of two eyebrows. The emojis are symmetrical, which means they're the same on both sides. So this helps you keep it symmetrical if you're cutting them both out at the same time. You don't want the marker side showing, so you might want to cover that. Okay, so here is my emoji. I'm going to get glue now and glue down all of these pieces. Make sure before you glue them, you have them arranged the way you want them. Notice also how when I use the felt, I use the edges, so somebody else can use that rest of it. Get some glue on the back side of here. You don't need a lot. Press it down, hold it down. Do the same for the rest. So now I have my emoji done. At least should I say the outside of my emoji. Now we need to make it into a pillow. You're going to get your second piece of felt and put it over top of your first piece. Or underneath, should I say, because you still want to see your face of your emoji. We are on to sewing now, so you're going to get a needle. This is a sharp needle, be careful with it. And what I'm going to do to thread it is I'm going to fold over a piece of yarn like this, and then I'm very carefully, that hole there, and then pull it through. If you need help with this, I will of course help you. You can twist it up if it's having a little difficulty, but don't do it at the ends, because the ends it will start pulling apart a lot harder on you, and it won't be as easy to thread. Then pull it through, and I'm going to pull it all the way through until both ends of my yarn are now even, like that. Then you're going to wrap it around your finger to create a loop, pull those two ends through the loop, and there you go. If you want, you can trim that a little shorter. To take your needle and thread it through the inside part and pull it all the way through. If it gets tangled, we'll just have to fix that. There we go. And now I'm going to make sure it's lined up nicely, my emoji, and I'm going to take my needle very carefully. I'm going to make sure I'm not going to push it through onto my finger because this is sharp, and if you push hard, it will puncture your finger, and then you will not be sewing, and you won't be able to make your pillow. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to push my needle through both pieces of felt and pull it all the way through. I'm going to flip over my emoji and do the same thing on the other side. Push it through and then pull all the way through until all of that yarn is now on the front side. And now I have one stitch on both sides. I'm going to keep going, following along the outside of my emoji until I have it sewed almost all the way to the edge. And I'll show you what I mean by that. Or almost all the way back here. When you're pulling the yarn through, you don't want to pull it so tight that it's bunching up your fabric like that. So you want to make sure it's still loose enough that your stitches aren't pulling through. And you want to also make sure that you keep flipping it over so that you're creating the stitches. You're not going around the edges. So you're flipping it over, pulling it through, pushing it through onto the next side, flipping it over, and pulling it through. If you have a little lip like that, just pull it through the rest of the way and keep going. I made a mistake here, and my yarn is now knotted. So what you can do if you make a mistake is you can pull on that original thread back out. Make sure your needle goes through the hole that you just made and pull it back out. And I didn't really go through that one again, so I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to pull in the yarn to pull my needle back out, and once it gets to the needle part, I'm going to stick it through the place that I punctured through there. And then I'm just going to continue on sewing and fix my error. And now you can't see my error anymore because it's gone. Okay, I'm going to stop about here. So here I have about 2 inches left unsewed. And what you're going to do with that hole still there is you're going to get some batting, or some stuffing, should I say, not batting. And you are going to put that stuffing in your pillow. So you're going to stuff the stuffing into your pillow. You want to make sure you get it all the way over to the edges. If your face of your emoji starts coming off, you might have to glue it on a little better. Mine's coming off because I didn't leave time for it to dry, so I'm going to have to fix that. Okay, so now I have my emoji pillow stuffed with the batting, or the stuffing, not the batting. Why do I keep calling it that? And you're going to continue sewing. You are now going to sew until you get to the part where you've already sewed it. You're not going to sew around again. You're just going to stop there. And then I'll show you how to tie it off. Okay, here I am at my end. If you want to hide your knot, you're going to have to go through it once. So I'm not going through both sides. I'm just going through the one side, and I'm pulling my needle all the way through. Then you're going to cut off that yarn, whatever you have left, and you are going to tie a regular knot. So I'm going to take my my thread or my yarn, tie it like I would tie a shoe. and then tie it a second time. Double knot so that knot doesn't pull out. And then you can trim this. And if my face was glued on there properly, which I need to fix, there is now your finished emoji. So here's another example like I showed you before. Have fun, boys and girls.